I actually want to give both of you a sincere thank you. Way back in 2008 at Sundance, when Collider was this minor nothing of a site, you guys gave me your time for In Bruges, and it meant a lot to me because I hadn't talked to that many. Anyway, I just want to say thank you from all the way back then.
When did you start up? Was it the year before? Was it 2008 or 2007 or what was it?
I started in 2005, but 2008 it was still a very small site compared to what we are now. And you guys giving me your time really meant a lot to me. So I just want to say thank you.
Well, you used it well.
Yeah, it's all right.
It was definitely that interview that led to Collider's growth.
You're welcome. So, we'll be expecting those royalties any day now, Steve.
So I listen. I love both of your work, and I'm just curious if someone has never seen anything that you've done before. What is the first thing you want them watching, and why?
Oh, jeez, I don't know.
In this right now, In Bruges is the first thing that
you have to say that as well. An awful affection for In Bruges. The script, of course, but just what that time meant to me personally, and getting the chance to work with this fella for the first time and Martin for the first time, and just indelible friendships kind of created at that point. And this Banshees thing is all the sweeter and all the more meaningful because of Bruges. So Bruges will be an anchor for me.
Yeah, The General, it was the first time I worked with John Boorman, and he taught me everything I know. I'm tempted to say, but that's, but he taught me what the essential of filmmaking, the essential of
your General,
your Tigerland, exactly, yeah. But there was such a mentorship that accrued from that. There's acting and then there's film acting in a way that that to me is indelible, that process. But the collaboration that we had in Bruges and the challenge of the the strength of the material and the places we had to go with it was complicated, especially for Colm, with regard to dealing with what he had to deal with. So this idea of being in kind of having a lot of laughs, but actually being quite a grim
totally the kind of comfort that you can create, so that you can actually be really uncomfortable at the center of it.
Yeah, which was repeated with this, with Banshees.
Yeah,
and just the quality of Martin's writing. It's an absolute privilege to go at it. It's really special. And we like Banshees kind of was delayed a little bit, COVIDized, and the whole thing was like, oh no, it's like it was there, all of a sudden it's going to happen, and then it wasn't. And this would have been one of the ones that I would have grieved forever if it had happened.
If I saw somebody else do it. Now, there was a certain point in the film where, I just thought, God, thank God this worked out the way it did.
Yeah, no, I didn't think it was going to be that somebody else would do it. I just thought that given the times that are in it, these kind of movies are, increasingly difficult to get up there and get out there. And really was Martin's, success last year with all of that kind of thing. But we're trundling into, what I'm saying is, we're trundling into a place where it's going to be almost impossible to get these films made in the way that we got them made.
Yeah.
This was really cinematic, deliberately epically cinematic. And then the story was on apparently small lines, so we could get into these characters that were intimate and reduced in a way. And the whole thing was done in such a cinematic way that it's for cinemas. And to be able to get those, it's like, we were blessed we got it done, weren't we?
And we had, honest to God, we had a summer that was such a kind of climatic anomaly. It was like Greece. It was like being on Mykonos. I mean, we couldn't find, if we wanted to shoot in the rain, we'd still be there waiting. It was unbelievable. I remember going down to the beach sometimes and taking a couple of shots at night. And I took a bit of video on the iPhone of the waves, just shallow waves that coming in and lapping and I came up and the sky was all sorts of indigos and oranges, and it was like, this is not any Ireland I know. But of course, that's my own prejudice nearly.
No, it is
based on an experience of rain and stuff. But
I've gone to Achill twice before and didn't see it, because it was all mist and rain and stuff like that. So you're going into a place that's susceptible to it. We had one day where the weather said, just in case you
remember,
you don't, and it blew. Like we said, don't worry, they had the pub. It was a pub scene. It was in the pub. Right. We said the intern scene will be fine. We won't have to shoot out today. The wind came along and blew all the lights from outside. So blew them all over the place halfway across the Atlantic. And more or less, we we found it difficult to work inside because of noise and because it was very difficult to have anything. We had to block off the windows and completely seal ourselves in. So as if to say, lads, I'm still here, by the way.
But we,
but it was absent of
we
it.
felt like the gods were smiling on us.
Yeah.
How many times did we walk outside the pub that we were shooting at?
Every time.
And we watched the sunset every day. And it was like oftentimes on films, you don't really take moments for observing the beauty around you that might be taking place in life, the way it presents itself from time to time. Here, it was so stark, it was so blinding. There was no first AD going, come on, guys, we got to get back to work. Production shut down without it being declared so, and we all walked outside the pub. And I have pictures on my iPhone of 40, 50 of us looking just towards the horizon. Yeah. And that was most days that we shot in the pub. It was just magic.
And between takes. Yeah. Like you'd walk in and
double rainbows.
You go out.
Fucking double rainbows.
Yeah. We walk out and just look up along the beauty of Achill Island, up along that western coast with the black rocks and the seas coming in. Just even between takes, you go in there,
plug yourself in.
You just plug yourself in. And it just contextualized everything, and also was vaguely sort of replenished you for the next take. You didn't have to even think about it.
All that energy and all that feeling definitely ended up on screen. I have to ask you, though, because I'm such a fan of Martin's work, what is he like in between takes when he's giving you a note or direction on what he would like in the scene? Is it like just like a word or two, or is it more like a full-on conversation?
He's shockingly detailed, Steve. He really is. I mean, I noticed that. I think because maybe I had a little bit of a greater degree of objectivity, just which is not to say certainty, but I'm fucking 14, 15 years older now, so maybe I'm a little bit more in myself, but I could observe, while being a subject of the experience, I felt I could observe Martin's process more clearly than I ever had before, in a lovely way. And I just observed him being so detail oriented, you know, and sometimes it is a word. He felt to me like he was looser this time around as well. Like he wasn't because sometimes he's really, and he deserves the right to be, because he hears it. He's writing music. He's not just writing dialogue. There's a musicality to what he writes as well. There's tone, there's pitch, there's pace. All those things factor in as he hears it pen to paper. But he's very detailed. He's also a great laugh. He loves having a great laugh. But if you look at him between takes, sometimes the brow will be furrowed and he'll have his little pencil and paper there, and he'll be, you know, on top of you. And it's great stuff and open for a good argument as well. Like it's kind of an ideal situation in what you dream of as an actor, to go to work as part of a collaborative team. You know, it really is all of us involved, you know.
And I found sort of in terms of, they began to emerge a kind of a pattern with this one in particular, much more so than in Bruges, that I had a really good idea where I wanted to go with this guy, and with the guy I was playing, and you'd move in and you'd give it. And to me, it worked. You know, that's who he is. That's how the interaction seemed to work. And Martin would he'd say, okay, would you just go and try it? And he'd start moving you away from it. And you'd be getting further and further away. And I began to get a little distressed, because I said, this is going to turn into a different person. I'm not sure where. I need to kind of rationalize who and how this is possible for this guy to come out with some of this stuff. But you'd find we'd work through it. And then bit by bit, you would try it, of course, because he is what he is. And he was editing in his head and trying different variations on a theme. And so, but I was saying, if I move into this other place, I don't recognize the guy. And it basically was a question. We both talked about it. We know this is the guy to trust. Yeah. But there was a kind of a pattern I began to notice, that it also began to move back into that place. You would end up not too far away from where you'd started. So you had got all these colours in between. But I didn't feel by the end of it that I had been dragged out of shape. I didn't at all feel I'd been dragged. And it was a question of, he'd be looking for a little nugget coming from a different place that he could use on maybe one line, but not necessarily with the others. So that, like the possibilities he allowed for. So he had a definite idea, which is the way he was with In Bruges. Yeah. But then he would throw in a whole pile of curveballs that would sort of make it some.
It was looser. It was more play. Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
And basically what we had to do was relinquish control.
Brendan, real quick, I have to ask you, I'm a big fan of Todd Phillips and what he did on Joker. I know that you signed on for the sequel. What was it about the material that said, I want to be in this movie?
It wasn't the material, which is a great way of getting me out of having to answer any questions about the material, which I can't. It was the achievement of the first film. It was like Joaquin. I worked with Joaquin before on The Village.
Oh yeah.
And so I knew him from then. And that performance, I'm still in awe of it. That performance as Joker in that first movie. It was one of the most extraordinary achievements I've ever had, and for Todd to have, worked the movie around to allow for that. I didn't have to be asked twice. I really didn't.
And Colin, I get real quick. Is the Penguin series going to happen?
No idea what the Joker's about. I haven't read the script. The Penguin shooting here in New York. I think if it goes ahead, I read the first episode, which was just so tasty and so unusual and so unusual, as the character was on the page and what Matt Reeves kind of envisioned when he was thinking of this iteration of the Penguin of Oz. So yeah, it'll be, I think, 6 or 8 hours. I'm supposed to read episode 2 and 3 within the next week, and just a really good company of people. And Matt Reeves is all over it, and sure, Matt is, borderline OCD when it comes to his focus and trying to do something new and original and with feeling and aesthetic and all that good stuff. So it would be, I had such a blast doing that, Steve. That was so amazing. It was just so much fun. It's just unbridled. I had so much permission to just do whatever. So we'll see.
On that note, thank you so much for your time, and seriously, congrats. Banshees is fucking great. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
All the
Great
best,
to hear.
Man.